Any objections? None heard. The chair decides, the ayes prevail, the motion passes, the House now stands adjourned. Proceedings will resume at 10 a.m. tomorrow, but behind this routine moment, something bigger is unfolding, and what happens next raises serious questions. MAGA Mike Johnson, the Republican Speaker, appears under pressure. Members of his own party are now turning against him. They warn him he could lose his position soon. They say he could cost them their own seats. They claim voters are turning against the party. They say voters reject what Trump and his administration are doing. They demand immediate action from him. So MAGA Mike responds with a plan. He says he has an idea ready. He suggests canceling all votes that night on Wednesday evening. He makes the announcement. He says the House will go home again. He cancels all scheduled votes under rising pressure. Reports now begin to surface from multiple sources. Stasha Burns notes a growing concern among allies. Some believe losing the House is now likely. They also fear the Senate could be at risk. There are predictions Republicans may lose both chambers. They say messaging problems are making things worse. They point to confusion from the White House. Operatives suggest focusing on consistent economic messaging. This advice comes from a senior campaign advisor, but Donald Trump appears to ignore this strategy, and MAGA Mike continues repeating the same points. He delivers them in a way many find obvious. Meanwhile, Democrats review new polling data. It shows Trump's approval ratings declining further, even Fox polling reports rising disapproval numbers. A record 64% now disapprove of his tax handling. That figure has risen 11 points since last year, and that is only one issue. There are also concerns about inflation and foreign policy. Approval among young voters continues to drop. Support among Latino voters is also weakening. Even support among white non-college men is falling. Trump is now underwater across multiple groups. His disapproval exceeds his approval significantly. In fact, his ratings are historically low. They are worse than Nixon's at resignation. This is what NBC reporting now indicates. Inside private meetings, Republicans are increasingly worried. They fear the Iran conflict could impact midterms. Lawmakers admit they lack a clear campaign message. Even party pollsters acknowledge the uncertainty. Concerns about Trump's war rhetoric are growing. These discussions are happening in internal group chats. Some Senate Republicans expect to lose their majority. They are hearing strong backlash from voters. One GOP pollster calls the situation extremely difficult. Before canceling votes, consider the recent timeline. There were weeks of inactivity and recess periods. During that time, tensions escalated internationally. The Iran conflict continued to develop rapidly. Trump repeatedly spoke about making a deal. At the same time, critics say damage was done. They argue global influence has been weakened. They also say domestic protection has suffered. Some even claim the U.S. has effectively conceded ground. This raises questions about current priorities in Congress. So what is happening now in the House? MAGA Mike introduces a new strategy. The big beautiful bill faces strong public opposition. So they attempt to rebrand it entirely. Before canceling votes, one key move is made. They rename it the Working Families Tax Cuts. Then they introduce a resolution celebrating it. They promote the rebranded version publicly. That becomes the central plan. Change the name, then celebrate the change. Present it as a win for working families. But Democrats were already prepared for this. Congressman Neguse takes the floor immediately. He directly challenges the strategy being used. He recalls events from late March. Speaker Johnson had sent members home earlier. This happened during a government shutdown period. It also followed an unauthorized war declaration. Gas prices were rising across the country. Cost of living pressures were increasing everywhere. Wildfires and climate issues were intensifying. Despite all this, the House was adjourned. Members were sent home for 2 weeks. Now they return from recess, and what is the top priority presented? A resolution celebrating a passed bill. Neguse calls this decision absurd. He notes Republicans control the floor. They could address real economic concerns. They could tackle rising healthcare costs. They could respond to inflation pressures. Instead, they debate a symbolic resolution. He says this is unprecedented in his experience. He argues the resolution is unnecessary. There are better uses of legislative time. Then he addresses the bill's new name. He points out something unusual. No Republican is defending the bill publicly, not under its old name or new name. The speaker interrupts briefly. He mentions the updated name again. Neguse responds directly. He says the new name does not exist. He encourages viewers to read the bill. It is roughly 350 pages long. The phrase working families tax cuts is absent. He says he verified this multiple times. He checked during committee and again later. He questions where the name originated. He suggests it came from internal messaging efforts. He says the bill is deeply unpopular. He notes Trump's approval is also very low, so the solution appears to be rebranding, create a new name and promote it, then pass a resolution praising that name. He says this approach assumes public support will follow. Next, MAGA Mike holds a press conference. He appears with other Republican allies. They gather outside the Capitol building. He says they are upset about something, but what exactly concerns them? Is it healthcare access issues? Is it rising housing costs? Is it increasing grocery expenses? Is it financial strain on families? Is it declining consumer confidence? Is it education challenges for future generations? Those are not the topics addressed. Instead, he speaks about the Pope. He responds to recent religious comments. He suggests political responses are expected. He references theological perspectives briefly. He mentions the concept of just war doctrine. He argues leaders understand high-level risks. He claims actions taken could save lives. He avoids engaging in deeper theological debate. He says he respects the Pope overall. Now attention shifts to other key moments. First, back to the House hearing. Congresswoman Balint questions Russ Vought. He leads the Office of Management and Budget. He is tied to major policy decisions. He has not testified before Congress until now. This delay is considered unusual. Balint challenges his funding decisions. She cites a federal judge's statement. It claims grants were politically influenced. She asks direct yes or no questions. She references rulings from multiple courts. She says actions were unlawful and harmful. She says funds were withheld improperly. She emphasizes Congress controls spending authority, not the executive branch. She accuses him of political retaliation. He denies the claim. The exchange becomes increasingly tense. Then attention moves to the Senate. Senator Wyden questions an IRS official. The topic shifts to a lawsuit involving Trump. Trump is seeking $10 billion. He claims improper release of tax information. Wyden asks if the official supports payment. He asks for a clear yes or no. The official avoids giving an opinion. He says the matter is handled elsewhere. Wyden presses further. He raises conflict of interest concerns. He calls it one of the most serious cases. He asks about ethics guidance received. The official again declines to respond directly. Finally, another exchange is highlighted. A lawmaker questions budget priorities. He references Trump's comments on federal programs. Trump suggested states should handle certain services. The lawmaker asks if changes were made. The official says no actions were taken. A disagreement about interpretation follows. Then spending figures are discussed. A 42% defense increase is proposed. This comes alongside cuts to social programs. The lawmaker calls this imbalance concerning. He supports strong defense overall, but he questions the trade-offs being made. He says priorities appear misaligned, and that brings the situation into focus. Let me know your thoughts on all of this. Subscribe if you want to follow updates. Help reach the next milestone if possible. These developments continue to evolve rapidly. The truth matters now more than ever.